13, something is going on. 13, this is
Screw
ethical.
my mom. It can't be I want to screw my mom. That's weird.
I want to screw my mom?
That can't be right.
We're live. It could be. It was a different time. It
It
was a
was
different
a
time,
very different
2011? When did 13 the musical happen?
When did 13 the musical happen?
We'll
I
get
would
into it. First let me introduce you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Slumber Party Live, and please welcome to the stage one of my nearest and dearest friends, someone I've known for 5 years, 6 years now. We did 50 Shades the musical together off Broadway. She is the star of my favorite video I've ever made. We Get It, You Know Each Other. You know her from her very famous viral YouTube, Twitter videos where she does mashup songs with, oh, have you ever heard of Ingrid Michaelson? Because she has. And you also know her from the most famous YouTube video in the world, the Do Not Sing list. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Melanie Brook.
13.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi. I
Hi.
miss you a lot.
I miss you too.
So first things first, I smell really bad.
I am the sweatiest I've been so far this year. Me and Adam
Okay.
rode bikes to Trader Joe's this morning,
Wait. Okay. What?
which no, it was at one point we were going up a hill and I just stopped and I was like, I think my bike is broken. It wasn't broken. Like I just could no longer bike up the hill. It was awful.
Your body just was like, you're like, I can't do this. I won't be
I'm
doing
done. I'm done.
what possessed you guys to bicycle around?
We were going to walk, but then we wanted to go to this rally protest thing at 1 o'clock and we didn't have enough time and we thought the line was going to be really long. So we were like, why don't we city bike down? Which ended up being slightly shorter, but we got lost a little. So who knows how much time we actually saved.
Wait, I know this is probably not like what everyone wants us to dive right into, but I think that we should. Could we talk a little bit about the protest?
Sure. I was there for like 45 minutes and it's very interesting because social distancing plus protesting like doesn't really go
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
So trying to like stay away. Oh, oh,
Sergey, oh my God, Sergey, you
he
need
misses
to.
you. He misses you.
Melanie's dog and I are lovers.
My dog hates everyone. He fucking loves him.
He does love me. Oh, we're best friends.
Best friend. He loves you. But anyway, so we were kind of far away trying to keep socially distant, so we couldn't really hear the speakers. But there were a ton of people there, and yeah, it was really cool.
I'm really glad that you went to that, and I am going to. If I were in New York, I would hope that I would be there as well. In LA, I'm honestly not sure what to do, but if anyone knows,
What happens in LA?
well,
Period.
I'm glad that we're talking about this because, like, yeah, what happens in LA? Period. Yeah, this is the general question for forever. But I think it's a good thing to be discussing and figuring out like what we can do to help at all and to listen and respond and do whatever we can to get the word out that Black Lives Matter and that this is something we need to be participating in as white people and
Right.
helping with as best we can. And
If all the white people I knew, like in quarantine right now, spent as much time like reading and learning as they do making bread, I feel like we'd be a lot further along. You know what I mean though?
yeah, yeah.
Like it's something that we need to I'm figuring out. I'm not perfect at all. I've just started. I'm just scratching the surface of everything, but I feel like it's something that we need to work on every day and practice. Like it's not something that you just post about and then you're like, check, I'm an ally. Like You
Which
actually have
is
to,
our whole generation's thing, and not
right.
just with this as
Wait, I
activism,
don't
with
want
all
to shit on
activism.
posting. Right. I don't want to shit on posting about it either because that's also important. But
Right. And
you
we're
do you mean
reaching an interesting time with that too, where it's like my initial instinct was like, well, yeah, posting about it isn't real activism. This isn't really doing anything. But then, seeing my Black friends say it's important for you to be speaking up and to like be letting us know that you give a shit
absolutely.
is
And like you're someone who has a platform and people follow you and like to read what you put out there. And I think it's really important that you do.
yeah. And I think it's an interesting time to be like discussing what that means if you have a platform. Like, did you watch Drag Race last night? Did you watch Drag Race? If you don't watch it, that's okay. But if I say stuff, will it
No, no,
spoil?
please
Will you be upset?
spoil it all. Spoil it all. I've seen. I'm just like, yeah, just go ahead.
The queen I wanted to win last night won. Spoiler alert for anyone who's watching live
Mhm.
if you haven't watched yet. But Jada Essence Hall is this really phenomenal drag queen from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Amazing.
And she makes almost all of her own clothes. And I've been recapping the show for Screen Rant. And it's interesting to like watch the show as a like passive observer and a fan of the show, but then have to like put my thoughts down on paper, which I then know like people will see. I'm like,
Mhm.
this is so interesting, um, because it makes me have to like examine what I'm watching a little more. And there was this one queen all season who's really incredible named Gigi Good, and she was like one of those reality TV presences on a competition show where you're like, damn, this person just like gets the assignment, goes in,
Right.
kills it, is artistic, is interesting. But there was always something about her that was like screams white privilege. And
Mm.
like this other queen, Jada Essence Hall, and like her mom helps, Gigi's mom like helps her make a lot of her costumes. She's a costume designer for theater. Shout out to the theater world.
Am I
But
wrong in saying that like all the best drag queens have a theater background? Like that's a thing, right?
yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
so many they at least like were theater majors in college, most
Right.
of them, or
At the least they have a BA. Like
right, or like love it. I mean, some people, some queens are like more fashion aesthetic.
right, right.
That's why drag is so fun. It's like so many different, but like I always like the campiest types of queens.
Of course.
But that's why the queen who won last night, Jada Essence Hall, is so amazing because she is like a pageant drag queen.
Ooh.
Like she like there's like this whole pageant circuit of girls who basically do like imagine like competition dance but for competition drag. Like there's like judges and there's like a whole like arena system of like they go and they do their whole like a Miss America pageant
Right.
but for drag queens. And she very much is a pageant girl and they don't often reward pageant girls, so that was really cool. But also like just what she represents for Black excellence, like she makes almost every single thing that we saw on the runway the entire season. Like
That's
she
incredible.
comes up with the concept, she physically creates and makes the stuff that she wears. And it's like, so that was like a just a very cool thing to see representation for the Black queer community last night. I think that was very awesome. Um, and just that show is just like really great. Bui says yes, Drag Race, and Kiara Goldberg is in here. Hi cuties. Hi Kiara. Hi you guys. If you have questions for Melanie and myself, feel free to ask us.
I love
Melanie, I love you.
I love you. Wait, is that video really your favorite video you've ever made, or were you just bullshitting?
I think it's my favorite video I've ever made. This isn't my first time saying that either. I think
Oh my god.
you know why I think it's my favorite that I've ever made? Look at us. Look at us just absolutely living our life. Could I be any sweatier? Could there be a sweatier person?
No, honestly, I've to this day have never encountered a sweatier person than you on that day in Champion Studio.
Kara's in the chat right now. She can attest that this was the hottest day of life.
So fucking hot.
It was 8 million degrees in that room. But
Work.
yeah, it I love that video. My friend Clyde, former guest of the pod, called me recently and we were having a long chat about like being creative and everything. And he was like, "Do you know why that video was so successful?" And I was like, "I would love to hear why you think it was so successful." And he was like, "Because you were having so much fun." He was like, "It just was fun."
We
Like,
were.
yeah, we weren't like, I don't know, we weren't we didn't do that video to like try and make it viral.
No, it also was just honest. It
Yeah.
was. It just hit a nerve in the community, you know.
Um yeah, it was like, I remember the very, so for those of you who don't know what video we're talking about, so we get it, you know each other. And when I got the idea, I texted Melanie right away and was like, "I really want to do this with you." And I'm so glad I did because you were such a big part of what makes it so fun and so funny. We were just playing off of each other. And like you said, just honestly like recreating insane shit that we have seen people do. Because I remember the moment I got the idea for this video, I watched a guy and a girl at a chorus line audition. First of all, Mama, what was I doing there?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, were you across
What were
the
you gonna
hall?
ask? What were you gonna ask, Melanie? Melanie, what were you gonna ask? Oh, I forgot my. And I did a pirouette and just took the computer with
You know
me.
what few people know though? That you had a dance solo in 50 Shades the Musical and fucking killed it every night. So bye.
I wish people would give me a little more respect when it comes to dancing. I don't know why I was at. I don't know why I was at a chorus line the musical. I think because
You don't have to justify it to him.
I think I'm a masochist, and I did a lot of that stuff in my early 20s where I would just like be like, the first job I booked out of New York City was Seven Brides for Seven Brothers from a dance call.
I
I am
still
a I
don't
am a bad
know
dancer.
what that musical is. Let me tell you. I have no idea what it is and I don't want to know what it is.
Are you sure you don't want to know? Because it's kind of amazing.
Okay, give me like a quick. I'm scared.
Seven Brides for Seven Brothers in 20 seconds is um seven brothers from like the mountains, like mountain folk, come down into the town and they go to a dance and they grab seven girls and kidnap them and bring them back to their place. And then they all
Are
get
you
married.
kidding?
I swear to God, that's the plot.
They they kidnap them?
Yes. Like their whole thing is like, I played one of the townspeople at the dance, and the whole thing is we're just screaming the whole time, "They took our girls! They took our girls!"
This is incredibly disturbing.
It's really fucked up. And the dancing is beautiful. The
That's all I
girls,
know of this musical. I've only seen men in like split kicks. That's
that's
all I know.
that's all it is. That's like the reason to do it is it's just like, because the music's like only okay. It's all about the dancing. And like the girls learn through dance that they should fall in love with their kidnappers. They all get married because they make it through the winter together.
13. I want.
Something is going wrong. 13. Okay, we have major drag race tea coming in. Pew, 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 pew. I know you don't care about this, Melanie, but it's good. It's gonna be hot gossip. Hot gossip. Okay, so Free says, so Gigi almost got disqualified because she was using a studio to film all her stuff, and World of Wonder told her that she's supposed to do it at her home with what World of Wonder gave them. So she had to refilm things. Whoa.
Whoa. Source?
That is wild. This is my friend Fui Carter in the chat who, if you guys ever need incredible photos, they're an incredible photographer, and
Amazing.
they took really cute pictures to me. Wait, that's really crazy.
That's wild.
What do you think is crazier, that disqualification tea about Gigi Good or the plot of Seven Brothers to Seven Brothers?
Equal.
Equally wild.
Really wild.
Wait, so we met together doing 50 Shades, the
I was trying to
musical.
think of when, like, the first time we met. Do you remember?
I had heard about you through the cat. So I did 50 Shades the Musical off, but there's several incarnations of the show, right? Like some people have been doing it for like years in Edinburgh Fringe, had done the tour. I felt like very much a newbie coming into it when they were doing the off-Broadway show, because they'd even done a workshop before that. They let the guy go who was playing my part, and then I got to do it off Broadway. But felt like I was jumping in with people who like really had been doing it a long time. Then we did it for like 6 months, and then you and two other principal cast members joined at the same time, like 6 months in, right?
Right. Yeah.
And when that happened, I had heard a lot about you from like creative team and the cast being like, this girl came in, she was so funny, and she's gonna be the new Carol. And
That's so
and then I think we just met in rehearsal.
I was so fucking afraid. That was my first job, like out of school, and I had heard about you just from like you know, everyone fucking knows it. They're like, "Oh, you're doing 50 Shades. My best friend Tim Murray is in that." No, my best friend Tim Murray is in that. And I was scared. I was like, who is this Tim Murray? And how is he everyone's best friend? And is he gonna like me? So I'm glad it worked out. But I don't remember the first time we actually met, but I assume it was like my first rehearsal.
I think it probably was, but I remember the first night we clicked. I remember the first night we were like, oh, this is friend for life. Do you remember? We went to a big party, somebody's birthday party at Characters.
Yes,
I almost
yes.
said Characters the gay bar. Characters the bar. The Irish pub across from 54 Below. And we were like equally nervous together and just kind of like, what even? And we said WWAPD, what would Amber Petty do?
Oh,
The lead of our show 50 Shades, who's just like a very like
no bullshit.
no bullshit person. She just very much like is like, this is life, and like I don't need to be she's just confident in like a great way that we aspire to. And so we were like, okay, what would Amber do in this situation? She wouldn't care. She would do whatever she wanted to do. And then I got really drunk, and I just remember we had like a really great time.
Yes, I do remember that. Wow.
Um
Times.
yeah, that was super fun. And then yeah, to go back to this video, I just really love that you also were in my Hamilton high school production of Hamilton's video, which
Which,
is your interpretation of Peggy is iconic.
oh my God, thank you. Your interpretation of drama teacher is iconic.
Can I tell you that my friend Kelsey, who is a drama teacher, who was a drama teacher in high school in Texas, texted me and was like, my kids are watching your video. Like in my
Stop.
class, like I had to ask them to put their phones down. And then I was like, wait, that's my friend.
That's amazing.
Isn't that cool?
That's really
Yeah.
love
So what even is life like for you right now? What are you watching? What are you doing?
So, I think for the first time in my life, I'm truly binging something in a way that was never possible before because of like life and busyness. I am binging from season 1, Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah. Let's talk.
Have you've seen it?
I binged that probably during 50 Shades. The whole thing. Like
Holy,
watched it on my computer, couldn't stop.
I'm on season 4 now, I think. So still not done, no spoilers. But holy fuck, it is insane. It's so fucking good.
Did it take you? It's so good. Did it take you a little while to get into it, or were
It
you?
only took me a second. Adam was like, "You have to get past the first few episodes," and I was like, "Okay, okay." And then I was in. Like now I am fucking like I'm thinking about it right now. I can't stop.
People hate when you say that, when they say you have to get past the first few episodes about a show.
But
But
it's
it is so true, especially with that show. It's like, it was so, it's so heavy, but I think it's the only show I've ever seen, and I stand by this, that gets better every single episode.
I
It
100%
just
agree.
continues. Like there's some shows out there that get like, start to get better and then dip a little bit and then get better again or whatever. They have like, I think every episode of that show is better than the last.
100% agree.
And this doesn't spoil anything, but it came out the same time as Dexter. Did you ever watch Dexter?
No.
So my best friend, shout out to Emmy, who's a nurse in St. Louis, is just binge all Dexter. And I was like, it's interesting because they came out at the same time, and I remember everyone being like, "Oh, the Breaking Bad." They had their finales at the same time, and
Oh
everyone
my
being
God.
like, "The Dexter finale did it wrong. The Breaking Bad finale did it right." Is all I will say. Is that I think it holds up as like a great finale.
Wow. Wow.
The acting is so good. The writing is so good.
It's just when everything comes together in that beautiful way. It's so fucking good.
You know what? I just binged, like, watched it so fast, beginning to end.
The Search for Woods? No, what?
Ah, yes, can't get enough. I
Yeah.
mean, true. I'm thinking about rewatching it again because it just nothing will ever bring me as much joy as that
You
brought
know
me.
what really hit me that you said when I was listening to you talk about it on
The
Broadway
podcast, yeah.
podcast? Um, I had to think about that name for too long. So sorry. Uh, when you were like, it really impacted me in a way when I was watching it in high school that I didn't realize about the standards and what it takes to make it on Broadway. And it really definitely got in there, you know?
What
And
what I said or what?
no, what you said was that like how it was portrayed and how they set these standards that like you needed to have a certain type of voice, a certain type of body, a certain type of everything in order to make it on Broadway. And I
Hmm.
think that really like as a pubescent female like got into my brain and just talking about the ways that like a search for Woods has impacted my mental health, you know? Um
It's real though. It's like that was a, and it's not the only thing, the only message like that that was being sent in the early 2000s. But like that's why the internet is important, and like the shit that we're changing in the world is important because like that was the message that was being sent out to so many young women. It was like you have to look and be a certain thing, and you have to do it this way, and it's gotta you have to fit in this box. I mean, the whole conversation around like who's right for Elle. Like Autumn was so clearly the best vocalist. Like that's hands down just the truth. Um,
and
but
the
the
best actor, I would say.
and the best actor, I would say too. She was the most talented person really in the competition.
And just the most experienced, like, you know, you
Yeah,
can't really compare like an 18-year-old to a 28-year-old. Like,
yeah. But the conversation became like, who is right for Elle? And like that's why that questionnaire was so messed up because it was like
so fucked up.
and the whole idea of the of Legally Blonde, the movie and the musical, is like that she is like going beyond the typical stereotype of what a woman is, and like what
That's the
a
whole message of the fucking script, and then it's exactly the opposite of what they were doing on that show.
which is a hard thing because it's like, yeah, that is the message, but then when you put something in the hands of marketers, it becomes like about this like how do we get a demographic on board, and then it like the whole thing just changes to like let's just make it like pink is the world, pink is the idea. But like
Right.
no, the idea was empowerment. Like what happened? Yeah, it's wild. That whole thing was wild. I'm like really proud of that. I'm proud of that I put that together and that the
I'm so
girls.
proud of you. That was so, so awesome. And the reunion was incredible. And I felt like it was really healing for them as well. Like, I don't think they've had, I know they did the reunion concert, but like a bunch of them didn't go. And that's like a performance, which adds another level of something. Just to have them all be able to sit in their own homes and have honest conversations, I think was really great for everyone involved.
Yeah. And it really hit me. I know you and I have talked about this before, but it hit me Autumn's whole conversation around goal setting.
Mm.
Because I think that that's, especially right now, what an important thing for everybody to remember is like the world is kind of upside down and messed up and scary and crazy right now. So why have why focus so hard on goals? Like or make goals that you can achieve for yourself right now. Like take the trash out, or like make like knit a creative thing that you've been meaning to knit, or learn how to knit, or learn how to play a new song on guitar or something. But this idea of like Broadway being the goal is
Right.
so detrimental to your health
I
because
agree. I've always felt like setting goals in this career, in theater, in TV, whatever it is, has it never made sense to me. And I've been told that so many times. Like someone came into our senior class in college and was like, okay, right, your 5 month goal, your 5 year goal, your 10 year goal, your ultimate goal. And I was like, but what if shit, what I'm gonna feel so bad if I don't
changes.
hit
Yeah.
this. Like, and at one point a few years ago, when I was getting more so into like the TV and film world, I was like, okay, by the end of this year, I want 2 co-stars and 1 guest star or whatever it was. And then you can't do that in this career. You just can't, because shit never ends up the way you think it will. And that doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's just like to put those restraints and to be so tunnel visioned on something is not healthy, I believe. Some of my friends set goals and they fucking love it, and more power to them. But for me, it's never been helpful.
I love that because I really I have been a goal setting person. Like I've been like a and I think it's you were there on my 30th birthday when I was like, I want to be happy right now, but I just feel like there was so much I wanted to accomplish by this day and I didn't, and that sucks. Rather than focusing on all the fucking shit I have accomplished, which is
Right.
a lot. And so let's see if right now on this podcast we can rearrange this idea for ourselves around goals. What if it's not about a milestone or a specific goal, but I want to know, and I'll give you time to think about it if you want. I want to know what you, Melanie Brook, want. So not about like what can I get or what can I achieve, but like when you close your eyes and still being a dreamer, like what do you want for yourself? And I want to challenge both of us to say something like scary and big, but knowing that if we don't get that goal, that's okay, because it's about shooting for the thing that you want and then like all this stuff that gets sucked up in the rocket ship on your way there, right? Like that's what's fun.
Right.
Do you want me to go first or do you want to go?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. And then after this, we wants to know how long did it take for us to film the video that we did. Let's talk about that first, and then we'll say our wants while we think about it. How long did it take to film that video? I got the idea. I texted you the idea. We got
It's pretty.
Kiara and my friend Clyde and all these people. That's really cool when you think about it. They're like, you just message a bunch of people. We have this network of artists, of people that I'm like, hey, will you come be a part of this? And you giving me your time for free, and everyone just showing up. And I mean, they talk a lot about in comedy, like in UCB improv classes and stuff, the idea of what makes something funny. And like, I think that video would have been good if it had just been us. But so much of where the laughs come in are
The reaction.
the straight men, the
Right.
Kiara and Sam and
Right.
Brooke and Ian and all these people sitting there and their faces just being like, what are these freaks doing?
Right. Right.
That's what's funny. I had an improv teacher. Do you watch Broad City?
Yeah.
Nicole Dressel. She was the girl that like sat in the
Yeah.
office that
Yeah.
hated them. She was
Yeah.
my improv 201 teacher,
I love.
and she's she's one of the best teachers of any subject I've ever had. She broke
That's
things down like so clearly. She's so
what,
great.
what made her so great. The fact that she broke. Like, how do you be a great improv teacher,
That's a
other than
fabulous
just
question.
giving notes, or is that what it is?
Mm-mm. I don't think it's that. I think it's your ability. Yeah, I think that's obviously a part of being any good coach. I think
Right.
of anything is give specific notes to an individual student. But I think the way you teach a class in a really great way is, yeah, to break things down in a way that is general for everyone to understand, but specific in what you're trying to get across. So the big thing that I took away that I started using in my writing and acting from that class was the idea of straight men, an unusual thing, and the way that she broke it down was she was like, a lot of you have probably seen that the famous Jeopardy sketches from Saturday Night Live with Will Ferrell. She's like, there's crazy characters at 3 stations, and then there's Will Ferrell being Alex Trebek. What makes those the laughs that come in on those sketches aren't entirely from the jokes written for the crazy characters. The laugh happens when they cut to Will Ferrell going,
Right.
it's his straight manning them. He is our key into what we, the audience, are thinking, which is like, this is insane. And the way that he reacts to it is what makes or breaks that sketch. And I was like,
Right.
oh, damn. And that's the same for improv. That's the same for scene work, the same for sitcom acting. Like, the way that you truly listen and respond is what makes it great. That's one thing that always stuck out to me about what she taught. And then the idea of mapping, she made so clear for us. And she did all of this, like, they don't have like, at UCB, they didn't, rest in peace, but they didn't have like chalkboards or anything, or like eraser
Right.
boards.
Right.
They just were, we were like learning by talking and doing. And she said, mapping is like filtering one idea through another idea. And it's like a whole kind of confusing thing that they teach at UCB, but it's, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she made it so clear that it was, you're doing one thing and you're filtering it through something else. So like, if we were going to a coffee shop, and if the barista said they didn't have your coffee, and you treat that like a breakup.
Hmm.
So it's
Right.
one
Right.
idea filtering through another idea, like getting coffee treated as a breakup.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, love that.
Welcome to my improv class.
Thank you. You're an incredible improv teacher. But
Yeah,
yeah, that
so
question. So then, like, actually filming it, I think what it was like 2 hours, maybe.
yeah. And we just kind of filmed. That's why it's so good, I think, is because you and I have good chemistry and we just played around. And then I edited it to be really clippy. There were versions of it where it was longer, but it was like, oh, we have so much stuff here. I love also the like bloopers reel that we released that not a lot of
Oh,
people watched, but
so
where you
good.
accidentally kicked me in the balls.
So sorry.
I mean, I absolutely deserved it since I dragged you around on the floor.
Of Champion Studios. Who the fuck knows what was on like that? My friend the other day said, which might be insensitive, but he was like, if you've rehearsed in Champion Studios, you have the coronavirus antibody. Like you're immune.
That's so true. That's so true. I mean, look at it. We're looking at it right now. Is that still, do you think it's still around? Do you think it still exists?
Like Shetler announced that it's closing, which is so
That's
sad.
sad. That's where I rehearsed all my like plays that I wrote and produced, were in these studios that were
Only-
affordable.
Yeah, one of the only affordable and like clean studio options in New
Yeah.
York. Very sad, very sad.
And we brought you all here today because we want to rank all of the rehearsal and audition studios in New York City. So, do you want me to go to circle back to this question of what do you want? Like, what is your deep want in this life?
In
Do you
this
want me
life.
to go or do you want to
Oh,
go?
fuck, okay. I was thinking like career stuff. Okay,
No,
life.
career. I mean career. I mean career.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, all right. I don't know if this will really make sense, but when you asked that, what I thought was a few moments that have happened in my life, whether it's on stage or on a set, where every department and every stagehand, PA, lighting, everything comes together. And it's the most magical feeling in the world when you're the one living in it. Do you know what I mean?
I love that. Yes.
Oh, like thinking about it right now, I have chills on my body. Um,
Okay,
and
then I keep going.
yeah, it's rare for me at least, and I want that feeling. I want that feeling more than once a year. I want that feeling as much as I can get it, and I want to also transport that feeling to others and make positive. I know this is so general, but like use whatever platform or whatever art I'm creating to positively impact a lot of other people and give other people the chance to feel that magic. Ugh, so cheesy,
I
but
no, I
it's
love
true.
that. I think that's I think you just put into words something that I felt for a long time but couldn't put into words. It's like people love to make fun of theater or shit on theater, and it is a very like privileged thing to be able to see theater,
Absolutely.
and we're like shining a light on that now. But there is I wish more people could experience it because it is like something I've never it's hard to even describe, but it is that feeling of absolute magic when you're watching, when you're sitting in a room with other people and experiencing the same thing at the same time and seeing, as an audience member, I think we've both been affected so deeply by seeing cool stuff like that. That's why
Mhm.
we want so badly to be a part of it and to do it for other people, because we know what that feeling is like to have
Right.
your life literally changed while you're sitting down watching other people perform a story. Like after I saw The Color Purple on Broadway the first time, I the revival with Cynthia Erivo, I started going to my restaurant and I didn't let people talk to me in the same way that I did before I saw it. Like I started standing up for myself because I was like, I
What
just like
would you do?
watched a story about somebody who like overcame way harder shit than what I'm going through. Like that's the kind of power that this stuff can have. And I think we're seeing right now like the importance of storytelling and make and show business and making TV shows and Zoom calls and honestly stuff like this is like it can take people away from their troubles for a little while. But I think what you said touches on something so much bigger than that, which is so cool, which is it's not just the escapism part of it. It's like really feels like you were able to touch magic, like something that's positively impacts other people.
100%. And it's the closest I've ever felt to like, not to get real nuts here, but to like
Heroin, to doing heroin.
yeah, like Breaking Bad. Okay, by the way, did any when you were watching Breaking Bad, were you like, maybe I'll try meth? Were you like,
Honey,
like maybe I'll try it?
maybe,
Because like,
maybe, honey, every single episode of that television show is simply downing methamphetamine.
like it clearly shows all the horror, like how life ruining it is, but at the same time, I'm like, but like, get me the blue stuff, like, yes, it over, like,
Not get me the blue stuff. Okay, this is a true story. I once was having a gay threesome. Thank you so much. On Fire Island. Thank you so much.
love that.
Stop applauding. And during this gay threesome, they offered me what looked like a bowl of marijuana, and I was like, yes, absolutely, fantastic.
Did you do math?
I did not do it. I went to go give it a go, and I something in me just knew. I was like, "What is this?" I was like about to do it. I was like, "What is this?" And they're like, "It was math," and I was like, "Oh, thank you." I was like, "Thank you so much for the
I'm
opportunity."
allergic.
I'm actually I have an allergy to math. Thank you so much for this opportunity to try, but
You're like, who cooked this? Who cooked this? Walter White? No, sorry. Only
can't
got
do it. Only the good stuff. Only the good stuff for me.
that blue magic. You only got blue magic.
Wait, I interrupted you when you were having like a real moment. It's the closest I said heroin, but it's the closest you felt to what? To feeling.
To math. I don't know. I lost that thought. Um,
But I'm glad that you
I don't remember.
brought that. I'm glad that you were able to word that in that way because I think that's really beautiful and really true. And okay, let me try to do. What do I want?
Yeah.
Um,
What do you want, Tim?
I want to make people laugh
Hmm.
and do it from a storytelling perspective of a really sensitive person. Like I I want to make people laugh and really think. And again, I know that sounds really general too, but that's what I love about plays. And like that's what I love about like indie movies and like when I think about like my favorite kind of thing, it's something really, really silly and really fun, but also really impactful. Like I think like Significant Other on Broadway, like that was another one that just really made me like there's so many aspects to what can make something great in the world of storytelling and playwriting and movies and stuff. And one of them is escapism. Another one is feeling really seen, which is I think is like
Mhm.
a really
So important.
and I think that's like a cool thing that a lot of people are finally getting that they weren't getting for a long time. Like talking
Yep.
to my Asian friends after Crazy Rich Asians, so many of them were like, that was like the first time I saw myself in a movie ever. I'm like, that's so wild. And I think that is happening for a lot more people a lot more often. That's how I feel watching Drag Race. Like
Yeah.
I'm seeing a side of myself that I hated for so long.
Mm,
Like my like femininity and I'm seeing it celebrated and that
that's so important.
it's like such a cool thing. So that's what I want to do. I want to I want to make people I want to make people feel how I've felt in those situations. That's
Right.
why I know it's important. Like to me this is all there is. Like I wouldn't want to wake up in the morning if I didn't get the opportunity to experience storytelling. Like
Mm,
to me like the world doesn't make enough sense for me to live in it without commenting on it and like thinking about it in that way.
amen.
It's
Well, the
like
fact that you make your stuff accessible and um, just open to all types of people, and you can, yeah, there's easy. I think accessibility is also so important, and I feel like you're doing a really good job with that.
thank you. I wonder about that sometimes though. Like accessibility is really important. I want to be inclusive and never want to feel like elitist or like something that I'm writing or creating is like anyone feels like, oh, I don't feel like I want in on that.
Mhm.
But also I think there's kind of something important about not worrying about if it's accessible. Let's shout out Cola Scola for a moment. I don't know if you've seen his.
Oh, love Cola Scola. Adam loves Cola Scola.
I truly think he's like the funniest person in the world, and it's
Yeah.
because he doesn't think about that kind of thing. I feel like he's just like
No,
and
I
like
think that's something that you should be actively thinking about when creating your art. I think diversity 100%, like being inclusive in that way, but
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
how you can't write something having in mind like let me make sure every single person on earth like relates to this, you just have to be true to what you know and your story, and which I feel like you do really beautifully.
thank you. Thanks. To be honest, I think I lost some of that for a little while, and I'm really glad to be finding it again. It's hard to watch. It's really hard to watch other people soar by doing that, by doing stuff that is just clickable or accessible or a lot of people like to see. For example, like people that just like get naked on Instagram. It's hard to watch people get success from that.
Right.
Or like, vloggers on YouTube who you're like, damn, that person just bought a Tesla by like, but like I don't want to vlog. I want to do this. Like I'd rather be
Right, but like,
talking with
yeah, like
you and the
posting
two
naked
people
pictures on
watching.
Instagram like doesn't give you what we were just talking about, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
maybe for some people it does, but I don't think
It,
that's the case
no,
for
it doesn't. It like
for
there's
like
no way.
I don't think so.
You know why it doesn't? Because that is there is no way to feel internal validation from that. Maybe they get that feeling from doing physical fitness and like their own challenges they give themselves by making their body look a certain way. That's possible, but they will never. No one will ever get that feeling from outward validation that comes from social media likes.
Right.
It's not possible. Like we are
No
learning
matter
that.
what you're posting, no matter what you are posting.
Right. It's all I'm having like a real deep think about that lately in my like I think I got addicted to the feeling of uh, outward validation. I think I'm an approval addict. I've never really
Mhm.
talked about this before, but I thought I was a sex addict for a little while,
Mhm.
and I'm not. I Sex actually isn't even as important to me as I once thought it was in my 20s. I think I am an approval addict, and
I
I
can relate to that for sure.
say again.
I can relate to that for sure.
It's interesting, right? Honestly, I think a lot of people in our generation are. And I was
Yeah.
reading this like Psychology Today article about because of social media. I came out of the closet in a Facebook note,
I
and
didn't know
when
that.
mhm,
Wow. Like
I
before
came
you
out,
told your family or
yeah,
oh fuck.
I like posted it on the internet, and then my brother called me the next day, and he was like, "You need to call mom and dad right now because they shouldn't find out like from someone else talking about it or from social media."
Right.
And I was like, "You're right." So I had to do that. And I did tell them, they did find out from me before they read it. But I came out that way and I got so much validation from it. Like
Mm.
so many people being like, "We love you, we support you." There was, a little bit of not great responses as well, but mostly validation. And I think I'm addicted to trying to get that feeling back.
Mm.
Because like especially as a little gay kid you always think um or at least I always thought that coming out was going to solve a lot of my problems, and that I like looked forward to that moment, and then when it happened it was like, okay, well I still need validation, so like what's next? It's crazy.
Yeah. That's real. Yeah, I think we all anyone on Instagram or really any platform feels that to a certain degree. Like I even in these like dumb covers I've been doing that like are the least professional thing I've ever posted, I'm still like it has to get over not that I actively think or say this, but I'm like if it doesn't get over a certain amount of likes then it wasn't like
Worth it.
successful. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's a 30-second cover of the Cheetah Girls. Like, who cares, you know? Like, but I'll find myself thinking in that way of like, oh well, guess this wasn't good. I'm like, no, it was great, but fucking who cares? Like, it sucks. But that's like how we've kind of been programmed by these apps, and it's pretty scary.
It has reconditioned our brains to
Mhm.
think that way. That's not necessarily like a natural way of thinking. We have taught ourselves to think that, to feel that, to like want that kind of thing.
Right.
And it's not natural. We have to like that's why people always say they feel so good when they take a break from social media or they go off of it,
Mhm.
because it is truly contributing to an addiction that we have that's negatively affecting us.
Yep. Yep.
It's so wild. With that said, please subscribe to the Slumber Party podcast. Please like and comment.
Comment, subscribe, and keep our addictions to social media and meth alive.
And keep our addictions to meth alive. We asked that. He said to call them out and said, "Did you leave after they offered the meth?" Um,
Did you continue the threesome?
I continued the threesome, and then I left.
and
Um,
then he left.
yeah, I was still very deep in my approval addiction at the moment. I couldn't have made myself do that. What was I gonna do? Be like, I'm gonna go. I mean, yes, that's what I should have done. But like,
Absolutely.
but at the time, I was so addicted to approval. I was like, I cannot imagine a world at that where I was in at that time where I didn't want these people to like me.
Of course, yeah.
I didn't want to offend them. I didn't want to hurt their feelings, which like fuck that. Who cares? Like you need to put your first. But that's like the kind of common thing that we're thinking is like, oh, what if someone unfollows me? Or like, what if they don't like my stuff? What if they mute my stories? Like that's what we're conditioning ourselves to think about. And it's so like not helpful and not healthy.
It's so insane. Also, just we all think that people think about us way fucking more than they do. That's a fact. Like, like let's talk about that for a sec. Like the amount that we think other people judge and think about us is like no one cares because everyone's thinking about them. Like no one. That's another story, but
No, but I
sacred.
I agree completely, and it's like, here's the thing. That is so true. No one is thinking about you as much as you're thinking about yourself. But the struggle I've always had when people said that to me, and this sucks to admit, but it's just the truth. I'm always like, "Ugh, but that's not true because I'm thinking about other people all the time." And that's the cyclical problem that I'm creating for myself and a lot of people create for themselves. If you're talking shit on other people, you're going to always be worried people are talking shit on you. If
Right.
you are thinking or judging someone else's comedy, you're always going to be worried that people are going to judge your comedy. If you are thinking about someone else getting ahead, or you're comparing yourself and thinking like, why is that person getting a job, all you are doing is stopping yourself from focusing on your own path. The reason that we
That's so
have
true.
trouble believing that thing that's like, well, nobody's thinking about you, is because you're contributing to your own narrative by looking at social media. You are thinking about other people, so then you have a hard time believing that no one is thinking about you because that's your brain wavelength. You think that everyone is doing what you're doing, but the truth is
Right.
the people that are
It's
out there thriving are, they are
right.
only thinking
It's
about themselves.
important to like continuously remind yourself that like, and I think I this is one thing that I have done a good job with as far as my mental health goes, of just not comparing and being genuinely happy for my friends or colleagues' successes. Like there was definitely a time when I struggled with that, and I can say happily now that I don't anymore, and it's like the most freeing, wonderful thing.
Wait, that's really excellent. Do you have advice for how to achieve that for yourself, or is there a way that it happened?
I think you just have to practice it.
Mm.
Like we were talking about racism, like not that that's comparable, but like I think it's just a daily fucking practice, and you have to recognize when you're having those thoughts and you have to say to yourself, stop. And I think you have to relearn. You have to teach your brain to not automatically do that. Like I will scroll through Instagram and be genuinely happy to see positive things happening for people I know, people I don't know. Whereas, like, maybe a few years ago, I would have felt really insecure about that and been like, well, what did they have that I don't? Like, why wasn't I called in for that? Like, it's just not helpful. And I think I realized that, and I just had to relearn.
Yeah, I think the relearning is like what you said, because I'm trying to do that right now. And to be honest, I'm still struggling with it. Like I still
Yeah,
compare
it's
myself all
hard.
the time.
So I think it took like a good year. I think it took a good year of just listening and being aware of your thoughts and being aware of also something I found really helpful is just muting and unfollowing people that trigger you. Like if there's someone you're seeing that's making you feel insecure, maybe you're not the problem. Maybe this isn't someone that you need to be following. So fucking unfollow
Oh,
or mute.
yes.
Like that is fine. Like that is you taking care of yourself. Like
And
that.
that's so interesting that you bring that up, because that contributes to this really false narrative that I've always told myself, that's like, I'm not going to unfollow these people or I'm not going to mute them because I am gaining access to more storytelling by seeing what they are posting. Like it's making me think, like I would get parody ideas from crazy shit that I see people post. So I was like,
Right.
well, but what really was happening, I can think of parody ideas on my goddamn own self. I don't need to inflict trauma upon myself,
No.
inflict negative thoughts upon myself, or comparison with other people. That's like that age old theory that like being depressed is what sparks creativity. Like if you don't have antagonistic things in your life, you're never going to create something great.
That's such bullshit. Yep.
It's bullshit, and it's like a little bit like white privilege bullshit, and a little bit like uh
You're
and this
right.
this book actually talks about it. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. He talks
Yep.
about how that is not an elitist problem. What's the word they use? But it's like a thinking that way is that's an entitlement problem. Like you think you are entitled to feeling shitty.
Right.
So
Right.
you keep creating it for yourself. Like
Right.
you just like want to feel bad because you want to have that magic that we were talking. Like it's an innocent thing that's happening. Like you want that magic that we talked about of creating something really special and really great, but we
Mhm.
convince ourselves that you have to be
They have to suffer for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like
It's all bullshit.
don't create suffering for yourself.
Like, take care. I remember there was a certain project that I was so invested in, and I got very close to it and I didn't get it. And guess what? I unfollowed every last person that was in that project because I needed to protect myself. Like, and that sounds petty and it had nothing to do with them personally, but I was like, I can't watch this on my feet. Like, never before Instagram did you not get a job and then fucking have it.
Look at it over and over again.
It's insane. It's insane. So like, take care of yourself. Don't be worried about that not feeling inspired. Yeah, like that's bullshit. I
Yeah.
understand what you're talking about, but yeah, I'm glad that you busted that myth.
Yeah, do what you can to like not contribute to your own suffering. Like
Right.
seems like such
That's
an
the least
obvious
we can
thing,
do.
but
The least we can do.
yeah. And what you said about that stuff that triggers you. My friend was telling me about The Artist's Way the other day, and I've never read it, but he said that she says something about uh what is it called when when someone is triggering you, they're like a chaotic person in your life. They're like a mischief creator or something. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it's those you have those people, and they're different for different people. Like some people just trigger you. They just based on something that happened in your childhood, something about that person makes you feel crazy.
And that's
So
fine. Like that's going to happen. We also have access to so many more people. You probably would have never come into contact with this person walking down the street, but now we are following 10,000 people. And it's like you're gonna come across people that trigger you, and you press the fucking unfollow button and don't feel bad about it.
don't feel bad about it. We're not meant to have this many friends.
No,
We're not
that's
meant to have
so true.
followers. Like
We're not meant to have this many friends.
no,
That
you're supposed to have a family. Is our natural the caveman instincts is to have a tribe, to have like
right.
10-ish people that are your people who you trust, and you getting information that people are filtering through a social media app is not your tribe. Those are not
Right.
necessarily people you
And that
trust.
seems doable to try to please 10 people and try to be there for 10 people. Now you're going to try to please and be there for 10,000 people. That's crazy. Like that's crazy to put on one person. And
That's why not all celebrities, but most celebrities are crazy. Is because they're doing that imagine that all the time. Like
they have to, yeah, I feel like
everything.
the only not miserable celebrities have really mastered like self-preservation and mental health. Because if not, it's just, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I was just listening to Alicia Keys on
I
Brene
love
Brown's
Alicia
podcast.
Keys. Did you read her book?
No, I've to be honest, I've always felt kind of like meh about Alicia Keys. Like some stuff I'm like, you're amazing, and some stuff I'm like, I'll take it or leave it. This podcast episode, Brene Brown's like reading from Alicia Keys'
Oh,
book.
I listened to that podcast. That's why I bought her, but I bought her audiobook and it's her reading it. Can't recommend it more.
I'm gonna do that. That's what I'm gonna do right after this. I'm gonna buy that audiobook. I was like blown the fuck away. First of all, the things she said on that podcast about not letting people, she's like, the way people lose themselves is you let people take little tiny pieces of you over time, and
Mm,
then eventually you don't even realize these microaggressions were happening, and then you're gone. Like
right.
the you that you knew is gone because you've been living your life for other people. I was like, holy shit. I was like, first of all, why haven't you been writing for Grey's Anatomy? Okay, that is a perfect Grey's Anatomy monologue. But secondly, yeah, I need to read that because I find it really inspiring. Speaking of celebrities and all of this, have you listened to Chromatica?
Yes, I've only listened to it one time through. I love
Same.
it. I have to give it like many more listens to really
Yeah.
talk about it, but like seems incredible.
Yeah, she really did that damn thing. But
She
she's one of those people I find so inspiring and so cool, but I also find myself worrying about her. I think sometimes I think like I bet she hasn't had fun in like 15 years.
Hmm. I think she's still close with her family, which like gives me hope that she can fully be herself around some people. And yeah, I hope
Here's
you're wrong, but I
I hope
understand.
I'm wrong too, but here's what I hope people take away from my theory about this. If you're listening to this podcast, I think for me, I've discovered there's a difference between creative joy and fun. Like you can experience creative joy by being Lady Gaga, and she is a creative genius. Like she's constantly reinventing herself. She's constantly putting herself out there. She's constantly being vulnerable and creating and making new stuff. And that is I think she's experienced a lot of joy from that.
Mhm.
And I think we should all strive toward that because that's a big part of life. But then there's this other part of life that is just fun. Look at this picture of us behind me. Like this video was creative joy and it was fun. And that's why it's my favorite thing I've ever done. Because there's other stuff that I've done that was creative joy that was like, oh wow, I have this awesome idea. I think it's really artistic and cool. And there are elements of fun in there, but just straight up sweating and letting your hair down and having fun with your friends without worrying about the product,
Mm.
that's different. Or just getting, honestly, just getting fucking drunk and making bad decisions and being silly, going to Fire Island and almost doing meth.
That's important. That
That
is
is, I mean, maybe I was having a little too much fun, but
fun.
like, I think that that is something that quarantine is trying to remind the human race is like, have fun. Like, remember that this is all bullshit. Like everything created in this world is created by society, and it's all like sometimes it's important to have fun. I worry that because she's so famous, she hasn't been able to just like go dancing. You know what I mean?
She was a go-go dancer, right? Like before she got famous.
Is that true?
Yeah, she worked as a go-go dancer in the village. So I hope she goes out in fucking disguise and prosthetics and lives her life. I could see her doing something like that.
Yeah. I feel like so much of her life she feels like she owes us this like great art. And I hope she knows that like she can just have some fun sometimes.
Gaga, if you're listening,
Gaga, if you're out there, if you're listening, she's actually in the live chat right now. Hello,
Gaga,
Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie.
you can have fun.
This absolutely flew by. We do have to wrap up,
Oh my
but
God.
um, I haven't even asked you the question of the podcast. What were your slumber parties like growing up?
Well, my first slumber party ever, I left because I faked having a stomach ache. So that's important to note.
Why? Why?
Because I was so nervous. I was so scared. I'd never slept anywhere other than my room, and I was just so fucking scared.
Well,
Should
how
have
old were you?
anxiety was in my future. I think I was like in third or fourth grade. I don't know. I wasn't that young. I shouldn't have been that terrified. Um, but I did fake a stomach ache, and my dad did pick me up. So that's my first slumber party story. And then I feel like going to sleepaway camp was one big slumber party, like going to a Jewish sleepaway camp.
Oh, I never did camp because I pissed the bed. So I always tell my parents I didn't want to go. Was that
Oh,
fun?
it
Jewish
was
sleepaway camp?
it was so fun.
How long was it?
How
Like
long was it?
how many weeks? Yeah.
8 weeks.
Oh, that's a long time to be away from home.
Yeah, no, by that point I had gotten over my fears. I think I went going into 7th grade I started. But but yeah, I think it's like a rite of passage for like Jews everywhere. So yeah, I went from fearing sleepovers to loving sleepaway camp.
Was there theater at sleepaway camp?
This is nuts. So I actually went to a sports camp.
Ah!
There were only two people that did theater. It was me and Adam Kaplan. And I don't know if you know Adam Kaplan. He was in Newsies and A Bronx Tale, and he works in musical theater all the time. And it's just so funny because like we also like made out all the time at camp because we're like
Ooh.
sing good and you sing good, so like we must be soulmates. So no, it was not a theater camp, but like me and Adam did a production of Little Shop of Horrors together. Like truly, we had to like make other kids come off the baseball field and do theater with us.
Stop it.
But no, it was not a theater camp. It was a sports Jewish camp, and I'm kind of happy I didn't go to French Woods or Stage Door though. Those places seem fucking nuts.
Yeah, I almost wonder if my not doing anything like that is why I'm still able to love and embrace theater to this day. You know, like I feel like
I don't
the
doubt it.
people who were like deep in it in middle school, like I avoided it for so long, even though I loved it. And now I like literally the happiest I will ever be is like listening to new Alphaba on YouTube. But like I wonder had we been really deep in that our whole lives now we'd be like, all right, I lived that. I had enough.
Right, right. Which like to some degree I feel I'm like theater can suck it. But
Yes, yes, yes.
but overall we can never deny our true inner musical
Being a
theater
nerd.
is. Yes.
Yeah. And that magic that we were talking about earlier of like you honestly you can really only feel, I think, that specific magic that you were talking about in a theater. Like, don't you think? Like movies, sure, but
I
this
have
is
felt that feeling like on a set before when but it's not the same when it's another level in a theater when also the audience is on the same level as you because that's just a whole other layer.
yeah. Um, okay, it's time for that part of the show called Wait, Let's Have Fun. In this part of the show, I'm gonna ask you slumber party, play a little slumber party games.
Love it.
Marry, fuck, kill. New York City rehearsal studio.
Ah, that's so good. Okay, can they be dead? Like, or does it have to be currently living?
I'm gonna give you three to marry, fuck, kill. You're
Oh,
gonna
you're
have to.
giving me the options.
I'm gonna
Okay,
give you the options.
I'm gonna do that.
So you have to marry, fuck, kill. Let's make this hard. Marry, fuck, kill. Ripley, Pearl, and Actors Equity Building.
Absolutely murder Actors Equity.
Yeah, can't even pee in there unless you're equity.
Like murder it to the floor. Like, and I am a member of Actors Equity, and let me tell you, burn it down. Like that studio is not like. First of all, the acoustics are awful. Like nothing about it. The discrimination of non-equity people. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd and needs to be burned to the ground. Mary Ripley, because wouldn't you like to just live in the little plant escapade feel that you have walking in there with the little weird decor and rugs that don't match? Like, that just seems like a comfy place to kind of cuddle up in and live a nice long married life, you know?
They do a nice job with the plants. Yeah.
They do a nice job with the plants. Like there's just it's just a weird, it's like an old grandma-y feel. And I'm into that for a long-term marriage.
Okay, great.
And I would fuck Pearl Studios because it's by far the cleanest, and
Mhm.
I really value, you know, cleanliness when fucking. Like we have to protect ourselves, and we have to make sure your partner's clean. And Pearl, I feel confident that Pearl's been tested every few months. Pearl's there's a condom every time. Pearl, like no, Pearl has it under it. And Pearl has also had many partners. It's had hundreds of people inside of it, but it still holds up those standards. And I just don't think Strictly or Actors Equity can compete. So yeah, I'd fuck Pearl.
Wow, those are really great answers, and I think the same.
Wow.
I think I would do the exact same because, and I would fuck Pearl because don't you think the acoustics in Pearl are the best?
Oh yeah, by far the best.
When I've like really had one of those days where I'm like, oh my god, I was singing today. I was really singing. It's been in a Pearl audition.
The vending machines are stocked if you get hungry, like during the fuck, like you're covered.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me. This is so fun. It's good to see your face.
This is so fun. I love you and miss you.
I love you too. I miss you too. Where can the people follow you?
At my middle school screen name that I've never changed, Melly B14.
You're so lucky yours is that. Mine was like, my first one was like Scream King Zero, like Scream King, like Nev Campbell, but the zero looks like the mouth from the Scream mask. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. You can follow me at tmurray06 on all platforms. Love you, Mel.
Love you.
Bye, you guys. Thanks, Fui, for staying the whole time. Bye, Kiara. Bye.